Boss fights themselves are such a cool concept. The idea that you have to get through a lot of trouble and a lot of stuff and, obstacles, you get around a lot of sneaky stuff, and then in the final place, you find a guy that is standing there waiting for you to kind of fight him as the last big, hard achievement that you do before you get your beautiful reward, whether it was completing a game or getting stars in a Geometry Dash level. The idea of a boss fight is very cool, or is it? That's the question we're gonna be answering today, because is Geometry Dash really a fitting game for boss fights? Are the boss fights that are being made currently with the 2.2 editor really well made boss fights that are fun to play and also gives the player this intention of wanting to revisit that boss fight maybe later on without having to worry about the reward, just because of the enjoyment that they had while beating the boss the first time? I can tell you for sure that some of the games that I've played in the past are so cool. The ones that I had boss fights, that I sometimes just go back and just play those boss fights for fun, because it is really, really cool beating those boss fights. However, when you make a boss fight, you gotta be really, really careful. And I'm saying like ultra hyper careful. I think this might be one of the most things that you have to be careful about when it comes to creating something in a game or a level. Now, I like to say that I don't really differentiate between a game or a level, because if you're making a game in Unity, for example, you can, add your own stuff and make things, playable for newer players so that they understand what's going on, and also enjoyable for the ones who already play it. So it is pretty much the same when you make a level. You're pretty much making a game that newer players are getting into, and then seeing how the level really functions, and then, trying to get the hang of it, and then, oh my god, I'm so dumb. From there on, they basically understand what your level or game even is. And the very, very, very first instance of a boss fight we've had in the Geometry Dash history at all is the Deadlocked boss fight. And there are a lot of things that I want to take a look into here to see what's going on. Is it really a good boss fight? And should we follow the concept of this boss fight? And later I'm gonna go into why I hate boss fights in GD, and later also why I think there is huge potential to make boss fights one of my favorite things if done correctly. The very first boss fight starts off very easy, where you basically have nowhere to go except for right. So the only thing you have to now worry about is when do you want to click and go up. And this one can also be very easily understandable if you take a look at the indicators, these lines that are visible on here. Before the guy shoots, he says, hey, I'm gonna shoot right in the middle, so you better get out of here. And then he shoots a flame. And then meanwhile, you could go down there, and then both of them come, and hey, up and down, not gonna be safe. And then all three of them, so you stay in the safe place. It is indeed a very simple concept of a boss, but it gets the job done, and it is super, super syncing with the music. But it's been about 10 years since the first boss fight came out, and obviously there have been so many cool things that have been added into the game, so much new content, so many ways you can implement your own ideas into your level, which also means you're gonna get much, much crazier looking boss fights, where it's not really about flames and, avoiding stuff anymore. It's about really focusing what the boss fight is doing, and it is no longer just 1D. It goes into 2 and 3D even. So there are a lot of things that you need to calculate for. Now, sure, you can say the boss fight is awesome looking, and for this one, I gotta give you that. The boss fight is looking really, really cool, and the whole level, it just has so much story behind it and has so much cool stuff going on in it. But sometimes there's the case where the boss fight itself looks absolutely brilliant when you're looking at it, and you're like, oh my god, this boss fight has such cool looking visuals, right? That's something that I'm very sure most people would say in the whole world. Now, let's be honest, but let's do a little rewind here and see what exactly is going on. I mean, the boss fight looks excellent, but gameplay wise, what is really going on? If I am playing this, what do I have to do? I mean, this is a level, so it's meant to be played by players. Like, I'm supposed to be playing it, and other people too. So So this is not a movie. This is not a video. I mean, technically that is a YouTube video that you should like right now, but you usually play this level and you don't just watch it. So you have to exactly know what's going on. And again, I have to emphasize that, you know, the visuals and all in this level look absolutely brilliant. I don't have anything against those beautiful looking visuals, but gameplay wise, when it comes to the boss fight, things start to get a little bit out of hand. And what I mean by that is the camera could have been, for example, a little bit zoomed out, because you can't really see what's happening too much, especially in this part, because you're going on the wall and left and right and such things, which kind of gives you basically zero time to react. You actually have to go into practice mode to really understand what's going on. And you may say, well, this is a medium demon, right? Or is it an easy? Well, then sure, you have to give it a practice. But I kind of disagree on that one, because I think a demon level, an easy demon, should be easily beaten by somebody who's an experienced player with probably 1 to 5 attempts, like easily, if they're like on a focus mode. But if you see stuff like this, it is really hard to really grasp what's going on. Like, you can't get through these parts without actually dying there, which automatically means it's not a skill issue, which I'm really upset about, because every time I die, I like it to be a skill issue. I want it to be my fault. But when you see a level like this, where you have to die there, there's no way to know what's coming up so quickly and for you to react so quickly unless you die there to see what's coming up, which I think is a massive problem. Because I mean, the reason why it's a massive problem in the first place is because the level looks so cool. The level, it's like so perfect on the visual side that making the gameplay just slightly worse than average just makes it appear like the gameplay really sucks. Because overall, this level has some really high standards. I believe this level is a legendary level, and I can totally understand why. But then comes the gameplay, which has to be judged on a legendary standards, which kind of falls apart. And I am very confident that the reason why this didn't get mythic in the first place was because of the weird gameplay going on. And this is not something to blame people too much on nowadays, because we're still a little bit new to 2.2 and stuff, like the camera stuff and things like that. But there is like a very clear thing that we have to all agree on. 2.2 introduced one of my favorite triggers, which is the zoom trigger, and also the camera offset trigger. These triggers can help your gameplay immensely. Like, if you use these triggers, you can literally make your level up to pretty much 5 times more readable. And I'm gonna show you guys that in my level, which I don't really want to leak, but I'm gonna show you that. So let me just give you a very simple example. Like, this level, it's not a brilliant level. This level is just an average type level. But what I tried on here is to make the gameplay really cool and readable. And as you can see here, your icon is right in the center. Why is my icon right in the center? And now if you play, you can see that I did not see the block before it came. Like, it's very hard to see what's going on. And that is simply because I removed the offset triggers. I pretty much have around 15 offset triggers. These are the camera offset, as you guys can see. And now if I enable them again, look at the incredible difference this is gonna make. It's gonna make the level so much more fun. Watch. So boom, triple spike, and boom. The camera zooms to the right so I can see exactly what's coming ahead on the right. Now the icon is right on the left so I can see what's going. Why doesn't the icon need to be in the center? I don't quite understand it. You're not really looking at the left anyway. If you're going towards the right, you're only gonna look on what's going on the right. So better move the whole screen to the right so that your icon is on the left, and then you can see what's going on the right. Kind of zoom out so you can see the block and do a sweet zoom like that. And again, this is nowhere near perfect. I'm not trying to say that my level is good and the other is bad. I'm not trying to say any of this stuff. I'm just trying to show you guys that using these 15 triggers, I managed to make this level much more fun to play. And this gets even crazier with the zoom trigger, which it does not cross my mind why people don't use zoom triggers. I just don't understand it. Like, look at this. I just removed all of the offsets and zoom triggers from this. Okay, the icon right in the center, that's not good. Icon is not supposed to be in the center if you are going fast. I mean, this time you're going kind of slow, so you can understand what's going on. But when you go like 3 times speed like in here. Okay, now like bad. It's just bad. If this was a daily level, a lot of people would really rage. You can't really see what's going on. So very simple. Add zoom triggers. You have the option to zoom up to 0.4. That is a lot. Compare what you saw right now to this. Look at it. Now your icon is in center and then it slowly goes into the left so that you can actually see what's going on. And now in here, give it a smooth zoom out because you're going on a completely different side and you need to see what's going on in here. And now if you take a look at this level specifically, like why is the camera value at default? Why is that? You have the option to zoom out up to 0.4 and the camera, I think it's even zoomed in. And now you may say, well, this fits the level. I mean, if you zoom out too much, that wouldn't really make that much sense because the dragon has to be right there. Well, how about you reconstruct your level in a way that it focuses more on the gameplay so that you zoom out, you put the dragon right on the left as well. You can make it even bigger because you're kind of zooming out and you want to have this dramatic effect. You reconstruct your level to make sure that you prioritize the gameplay first, because I can completely understand why in this scenario you may not be able to zoom out because maybe the dragon doesn't have a left side or whatever it is, or maybe because of some animations. And that's why I'm saying before going into any of this crazy stuff, first of all, you gotta plan your level. How do you want it to look like and how do you want to make it possible so that you can actually see what's going on? And this part fits really cool with the music, and I can totally understand why they had to kind of zoom out a lot. But again, problem becomes that gameplay it's just unbearable. And so as a result, just change things up. Like you gotta prioritize the gameplay over the music sync, over the visuals. So if kind of making this part a little bit different will make the music sync less, but as a result make the gameplay a lot more readable, I think it is totally worth it because like the whole level already syncs really good, and having that specific part sync as well is really not really that big of a deal, especially when you're basically trading that off for having a much fun experience for the guys. And this is also a very cool effect. And in here, like, yeah, just give it a tiny zoom, really not that hard. And I don't know why, but I just haven't really seen any 2.2 level that just goes on here and then there, like boom, zoom out. Just give it room, give it a little bit of room, you know, make the level look small. It doesn't really matter because the gameplay is what should be prioritized. And what you can also do is always give your levels to playtesters. Now you may say the camera in this level kind of sucks, and with you I agree. That's because this level has not been playtested yet by different people. But yeah, that's gonna happen before I release the level. I mean, the level is still unfinished, so there's still a lot of stuff I need to do. But the moral of this whole story, the thing that you need to keep in mind when coming up with a new cool big level, is to basically focus on the gameplay. Screw all of the visuals. Please, Mr. Chavapayopo, you are so good at the visuals. You don't need to put that much thought into it. You just have to put all of your stuff, like all of the energy, just put it in making a cool gameplay. Visuals, you're already really excellent at it, so that's not really going to be an issue anyway. So if you do that, I'm very sure this is going to be very cool. And this is not a video specifically aimed at this level. It's not a video aimed to, you know, push hate towards the level or the creator or anybody out there. The reason why I'm making this video is because I think some of these levels, and I've seen a lot of people say that as well, is that the things are just not really fun to play. Let me just put it. I haven't tried all of these levels out, so I can't really say, but I've seen this level and I'm like, you can zoom out. Like, it's really an option and it could make a huge difference. And I think a lot of the stuff that I mentioned today, if a lot of people take into consideration, we're gonna have much more fun levels to play. Because yeah, I mean, like, if you have such insane looking visuals, you're literally just one step ahead. And we're talking not one step ahead from being normal, we're talking one step ahead from being perfect, from having like the best mythic level. And if this guy somehow is watching, again, I'm throwing all of this criticism at you because I'm comparing you to the perfect level in Geometry Dash, the imaginary level that we could have potentially in the future, which is going to be gameplay wise and also decoration animation wise. But yeah, I mean, like, come on, nobody can say that we were not impressed by the NCS entries. All of these levels were absolutely beautiful looking. Like the levels, like nobody can deny that the visuals are so good looking, which is why I am really hoping that the whole community kind of starts shifting towards focusing more on the gameplay than on the visuals, because they've already mastered the visuals, and make boss fights fun again, because boss fights are very, very cool, like I said at the beginning of the video. So yeah, if you are a creator out there, I encourage you to use 5 times more zoom triggers than you actually use. Don't spam them, but just make them chill, and yeah, just use zoom triggers. Like, very first thing I was excited about when 2.2 got announced is that finally we can make gameplay more readable. We can have more room for a boss fight because you can zoom out in the ship and then you can have multiple different attacks, and I was really excited for that. So I'm going to use those features indeed. So I guess I think that is it for this video. Make sure to slap that like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about this subject down in the comments. I love you all. I'm looking for a very bright future of this game, and yeah, levels excellent, just one step ahead from perfection. I will see you guys